Hi, beloveds. Welcome to another tidbit about our upcoming work, or a tidbit that you can just kind of take in for yourself and ruminate how it resonates for you on your healing journey of freedom and your sense of purpose. We talk a lot in our work about Reiki and energy medicine, and we're about to do this class. But we flavor it and frame it with it as one of the modalities that goes into helping people with their what we call body story work. So body story work is a methodology. It's a multimodal approach to holistically listening to and through and for the body, and what are the stories that are in our bodies. In prior, excuse me, in prior videos, we talked about how the transfer of energy. So Reiki is simply a transfer of universal energy, life force, the key that's being transmitted into the body or the patient, the client, of the person receiving. And that work will do whatever it does. The beauty of Reiki is the symbols kind of are about kind of the pathway of that journey. So the first symbol taking you into physical healing, the second one taking you into that inner healing. And body story work is all about that second symbol, that Seihei Ki. It's the truth that's going to set you free. It's the unconscious stories that we have located in areas of our body. So I'd have you think with me where you hold pain, where you hold stress, where you hold a vulnerability to disease. And those are the areas in which your body stories are likely to be hidden. And a good approach for you as a therapist, whether you're a massage therapist, a Reiki master, a psychotherapist, but anybody doing treatment on someone inside and out, this is a key symbol of bringing up the truth that's going to set you free. So I'm going to give you a few examples of that for a moment. So, in body story work, we talk about, and in prior videos, I talked about my own story and how doing this work has radically healed me in periods and times of my life. And we have lots of stories of people who've gone through this process of doing body story work, and really the one man that I think I've talked about many times, but who was just a gay man who was seeking intimacy. And so, but he wanted for Christmas a bicycle, but he got a red wagon. And so that was a wound for him, very benign thing. But that became a story for him about he couldn't ask for help, and if he wanted anything, he had to do it himself. So that unconscious agreement he had energetically in his body, and until that came up to the surface, he couldn't break that agreement and really deal with it. So we talk about codependent work a lot, and one of the teachers that influenced me was Whitfield, and I got to meet him and actually bring him to do some work with us in Cincinnati when I was there. But his whole premise is that we all have energetically an inner child within us, and that inner child is still needing some of the things that he, she, they needed all along. So the story of this man is, he finally, after he broke that agreement with himself, actually came into more healing and was able to find a relationship that he was seeking. a woman, we tell this story about how, there's this woman who had a life-threatening disease, and her wound was really pretty benign too. She would with her sisters go greet her daddy at the door when she was just a little girl, and the daddy somehow would always hug the first two sisters before her, and then something would always happen. The phone would ring, or the mother would ask for help. Something was on the stove or something. And the third little girl, who was this little girl who had the life-threatening disease, she felt hopeless. And until she got in touch with the fact that her disease was not only treatable, but that there was hope for her, she had to deal with this story that she didn't get what others got. And once she realized that story, it became the truth that's helped to set her free. Or, another woman that we worked with who had an autoimmune disease, and we kind of worked through a whole lot of kind of abusive stuff in her past with her, and that was stored in her body. But it took doing some of this energetic work for her to actually find the cure that would help her on her path to remission. Or another woman that we worked with who actually had fibromyalgia, and at least after doing some work for the first 6 months, she was free of her fibromyalgia. And she kept bumping into layers, or she'd go into remission, and then she'd come out of that and back into her disease. But now she had some tools to work with to better help her through that time. So what I'm saying is, doing your body story work may have layers. As to your age and what surfaces at different times, but it almost always lands on our inner child within. When we do our Reiki work, you'll learn about that first, second, and third symbol. But the second symbol of the, it's basically the truth will set you free kind of symbol for me. And those of you who suffer with kind of healing addictions or addictive propensities, behaviors that kind of get you stuck, this symbol and doing body story work can help to liberate you more fully. And again, none of this, it's all a process. It's all a healing process. And sometimes it's rather miraculous in what manifests. Sometimes it's gradual. Sometimes you go forward and then you take 2 steps backwards. I'm not a big person on trying to sell something as, if you do this work, you will get this. I think that's an attachment that is not useful to us. But doing the work, you can always count on the work is going to somehow set you freer. The work is going to heal you deeper. And the work is actually going to help you kind of come into knowing not only what your wounds are, but the gifts that come out of your wounds, and a sense of purpose and all that. So hopefully this is just another warm-up as if you consider doing work with us. But even if you don't, how is it that your inner child needs some care in this time, especially in a time where so many kind of threats are going on in our world, even though they not be directly at you, you feel that threatened energy, and your body is bound to be surfacing some of those triggers, as they often call them, that need to be set free or need your care. And doing your inner child work I'll leave with this image. We did a workshop one time around doing our body story work, and we took little baby dolls like this and we wrote on them actually the stories that are broken stories, our wounded stories on them. By the end of the workshop though, we erased the stories and added the new story that we want. So what is the new story that you want to replace the old story? But first of all, we need to know what the old story is. So let's make this an adventure that's fun, that's playful, and that is full of heart as you dive into more fully your healing journey. Namaste.